Open your phone. Not your messages, not your email, your camera roll. Scroll for a moment and really look at what's there. Is it selfies, screenshots, photos of places you barely remember visiting? Or is it something else entirely? Dozens, maybe hundreds of photos of a small creature who isn't human? The way they sleep, the way they look at you, the way their face changes when they hear your voice. You might have told people confidently, "I don't want kids." And maybe that's true, at least in the way society defines the word child. But your phone tells a quieter, more honest story. Because people don't document what doesn't matter to them. They don't fill their storage with something that holds no emotional weight. Photos are proof of attachment. They are memory made visible. And if you're honest, your pet isn't just something you own. They are something you watch over, something you worry about when you're not home, something your day unconsciously organizes itself around. Notice how your body reacts when you look at those photos. There's a softening, a warmth, sometimes even a strange ache you can't quite name. That feeling isn't random, and it isn't silly. It's the same emotional posture a parent takes toward a child. Protective, attentive, oriented toward care. This isn't about replacing human children. It's about recognizing a pattern your nervous system is already living inside of. Before you ever questioned it, before anyone judged it, your brain had already decided this being matters. This being is mine. And the question isn't, why do you love them so much? The real question is, what part of you needed a bond like this in the first place? Let's begin. Long before you ever called yourself a pet parent, your brain had already made the call. It didn't ask for your opinion. It didn't check your life plan. It simply responded. When you look into your pet's eyes and feel that sudden rush of warmth, your body releases oxytocin, the same hormone that bonds a parent to a newborn. This isn't a poetic comparison. It's a measurable chemical event. Your nervous system doesn't label relationships by species. It labels them by safety, attachment, and repetition. Care plus proximity equals bonding. And you have both. Every feeding, every walk, every time you respond to a sound in the night, every moment you are needed and show up. Your brain reads that pattern and says, "This is family." What's important to understand is that this process happens below language. You didn't decide to feel responsible. You didn't choose to feel protective. Those feelings emerged because your brain recognized a being that depended on you, and dependency is one of the strongest triggers for attachment we have. This is why calling it pretend misses the point entirely. Pretend is conscious. This is automatic. In fact, in some ways, this bond forms even more smoothly than many human relationships. Human connection comes with negotiation, interpretation, and the constant fear of missteps. With your pet, the signal is clean. Care goes out, trust comes back, over and over again. So when you say, "They're like my child," you're not exaggerating. You're describing a reality your body's already living. You didn't assign yourself that role. Your nervous system did, and once it does, it doesn't easily let go. There's a truth about human parenting that rarely gets said out loud. If you have a human child, your job is to love them towards separation. You teach them to walk so they can walk away. You teach them to speak so they can disagree with you. You raise them to become someone who will one day need you less. That's not a failure of love, that is love. But it also means every healthy parent-child bond carries an exit wound built into it from the beginning. Growth requires distance, independence requires loss. A pet offers something entirely different. They are the child who never leaves. They don't grow into independence. They don't outgrow needing you. They don't move away, form new allegiances, or slowly reorganize their world without you at the center of it. For someone with a deep sensitivity to abandonment, or someone whose nervous system learned early that connection is fragile, this matters more than most people realize. With a pet, the bond is stable, predictable, frozen in time. You don't wake up one day to find the relationship has shifted without your consent. You don't have to grieve the slow loss of closeness that comes with human development. The role you play stays intact. You are needed today, tomorrow, and every day after that. This doesn't mean pet parents are afraid of love. It means they understand its cost. For many people, especially those who grew up with inconsistency, absence, or emotional unpredictability, the forever child isn't about control. It's about safety. It's about finally having a relationship where love doesn't come with the constant threat of being outgrown or replaced. Notice how calm your body feels around your pet. Notice how little vigilance is required. That's not coincidence. That's your nervous system recognizing a bond without an exit wound. A love that doesn't have to prepare itself for goodbye. Have you ever looked at your pets and felt something almost overwhelming? A sudden urge to squeeze them, to bite their ears, to say something in a ridiculous voice because the feeling is simply too much. That reaction has a name: cute aggression. It sounds strange, even alarming, but it's actually your brain trying to regulate an emotional overload. When something is extremely cute, your nervous system floods with bonding chemicals. Oxytocin, dopamine, warmth, focus. Cute aggression is the pressure valve. It's how your brain keeps you from being emotionally incapacitated by love. The reason this happens so intensely with pets has to do with something called baby schema. Humans are biologically wired to protect beings with big eyes, round faces, small noses, and clumsy movements. These features trigger a deep, ancient instruction: keep this alive. Human children eventually grow out of this. Their faces sharpen, their bodies change. The visual cues that signal helplessness fade over time. Your pet never outgrows them. Dogs, cats, even rabbits are biologically designed to remain in a permanent state of baby-like features. When you look at them, your brain doesn't register animal, it registers dependent. This is why people who don't want human children can still feel intense parental instincts toward pets. The trigger isn't ideology, it's visual and neurological. Your brain is responding exactly as it was designed to, and sometimes love hurts because it's more than your system knows what to do with. Human attachment is complicated. Even at its best, it comes layered with misunderstanding, unmet expectations, and the constant need to interpret someone else's inner world. People grow, they change, they say things they don't mean, they leave rooms without explaining why. And for a nervous system that has learned to stay alert, love can feel less like safety and more like risk management. Pets offer a different attachment environment entirely. With a pet, the signal is clean. Care goes out, trust comes back. There is no double meaning, no hidden resentment, no emotional scorekeeping. You don't have to wonder where you stand. This is especially powerful for people who grew up in homes where affection was unpredictable, where love could be withdrawn without warning, where approval had to be earned, or where emotional needs were treated as inconvenient. In those environments, attachment becomes associated with vigilance. You learn to monitor tone, facial expressions, shifts in mood. Connection costs energy. A pet removes that cost. They don't evaluate your worth. They don't punish you for having a bad day. They don't reinterpret your silence as rejection. Psychologically, this creates what attachment theory calls a secure base. But unlike human relationships, this secure base doesn't erode with time, conflict, or autonomy. It stays intact. For someone who has experienced abandonment, whether physical or emotional, this kind of bond can feel like oxygen. It's not that they're avoiding human connection, it's that they're finally experiencing attachment without the threat of rejection built into it. Notice how your body behaves around your pet. The shoulders drop, the breath slows, there's no performance required. That's not immaturity, that's regulation. Your nervous system has found a relationship where connection doesn't demand self-protection, a place where attachment can exist without fear. And once you've felt that, It changes what you understand love to be capable of. There's a stereotype that follows people who treat their pets like children, that they're filling a void, that they couldn't have a real family, that something is missing. Psychologically, the opposite is often true. People who bond deeply with their pets are frequently high-capacity nurturers. They have a surplus of caregiving energy, attention, concern, emotional attunement that needs somewhere to go. They are the ones who remember birthdays, the ones who check in, the ones who notice when something is off and quietly try to fix it. But the modern world doesn't reward this trait very well. For millennials and Gen Z especially, traditional pathways for expressing caregiving have narrowed. Housing is expensive, work is unstable, the future feels uncertain. Becoming a human parent often requires financial, emotional, and logistical resources that feel permanently out of reach. What doesn't disappear is the instinct itself. The need to care for something vulnerable doesn't fade just because the conditions aren't right. It looks for another outlet. A pet becomes that outlet, not as a substitute born of failure, but as an adaptation, a way to express responsibility, devotion, and tenderness without being crushed by modern constraints. You get to be a caregiver without losing your entire autonomy. You get to build a family that fits inside the life you actually have, not the one you were promised. This isn't avoidance, it's calibration. You are saying, I have love to give, and I'm choosing a form where it can survive. In a world that often feels too hard, too fast, and too unforgiving, that choice isn't small, it's quietly intelligent. There is another layer to this bond that's harder to talk about, because it sits closer to fear than love. Raising a human is unpredictable. You can do everything right and still lose control of the outcome. Children grow into their own will. They make choices you can't manage. They leave. With a pet, the world is smaller. And that's not an insult, it's a relief. You choose what they eat. You choose where they go. You decide their routines, their safety, their boundaries. For someone whose own life feels chaotic, an unstable job, a volatile world, a nervous system that never fully rests, this kind of control can feel grounding. It's not about domination. It's about having one place where care reliably leads to safety. Psychologically, this can be healthy, or it can drift into anxiety, depending on the motivation. There's a difference between structure that soothes and control that tries to erase uncertainty. The line is subtle, and most people cross it without realizing. If you find yourself obsessing over perfection, diet, schedules, constant monitoring, it may not be about your pet at all. It may be about needing proof that something in your life is safe because you're in charge. This doesn't make you broken. It makes you human. The question isn't whether control is present, it's whether it's serving regulation or quietly replacing it. Because safety built on care is sustainable. Safety built on fear is exhausting. Not everyone treats their pet like a child for the same reason. From the outside, the behaviours may look identical. Special food, vet anxiety, routines, baby talk, but psychologically, the need underneath can be very different. The first type is the guardian. You're constantly scanning for danger. You notice subtle changes others would miss. A skipped meal, a strange sound, a slightly slower walk, and your body reacts. When your pet is safe, you feel safe. When they're vulnerable, your anxiety spikes. Psychology would describe you as high in empathy and high in vigilance. You love like someone who knows how quickly things can be lost. The second type is the soulmate. You don't just care for your pet, you bond with them, you talk to them, you feel understood by them. Time with your pet feels more restorative than most social interactions. Humans require performance, your pet requires presence. You are drawn to depth, quiet, and authenticity, and this relationship gives you all three without negotiation. The third type is the redeemer. You may have rescued them, physically or emotionally. They came into your life afraid, neglected, or unprotected. By caring for them, you're restoring something. Each act of kindness becomes evidence that pain doesn't have to be the end of the story. Often, you're not just raising them, you're healing yourself. And then there's the half type, the controller. Structure calms you, but when fear drives it, care can become rigidity. This isn't a flaw, it's a signal. Most people are a blend. And knowing which part of you is leading can change the way you love, without taking that love away. There is a moment most pet parents recognize, even if they've never put words to it. It's the way you talk to them when no one else is around. You're okay, I've got you, you're safe. Listen closely to that voice, because for many people, that tone wasn't something they received, it's something they're creating. Psychology calls this reparenting. It's the process of giving, in adulthood, what was missing in childhood. Patience, protection, emotional consistency. When you care for your pet, you aren't just meeting their needs. You are practicing a form of caregiving. Your own nervous system never fully learned to expect. Think about the details. You soothe them during thunderstorms. You reassure them when they are afraid. You celebrate small milestones that no one else would notice. Now ask yourself, was anyone that attentive to you? For people who grew up with emotional neglect, unpredictability, or harshness, this bond becomes quietly transformative. Every gentle response rewires a memory. Every moment of safety offered outward reinforces the idea that safety is possible at all. This is why the attachment feels so deep. You're not only a caregiver, you're a witness to their life and to a softer version of your own. And this is also why the pain can be so intense when something threatens that bond. Losing a pet isn't just losing a companion. It's losing the role where you finally felt competent, protective, and enough. When society dismisses that grief, it misses the point entirely. This relationship wasn't a substitute, it was a repair. You proved to yourself that you could love without harm, protect without control, and show up without disappearing. And that changes you, long after the species disappears from the frame. When a pet dies, something shatters that most people can't see. It isn't just the absence of a body in the house, it's the silence where a role once lived. Your brain doesn't experience this as losing an animal, it experiences it as losing a daily attachment, a source of regulation, a being that depended on you completely. The routines vanish, the reflexes remain. You still listen for their footsteps, you still reach for them without thinking. Psychology calls this disenfranchised grief, a grief society doesn't fully recognize. When people say, "It was just a dog," they're speaking from language, not from the nervous system. Your body knows better, it lost family. But here's the quiet truth. Love doesn't end where the body does. The bond you built reshaped how you attach, how you protect, how you care. That doesn't disappear. It becomes part of your emotional architecture. You carry it forward into future relationships, into how you speak to yourself, into how you hold others. Family isn't defined by blood. It's defined by presence, safety, and who waits for you when the world feels heavy. If this video made you feel seen, consider subscribing. This channel explores the quiet patterns beneath our attachments, the ones that shape how we love and heal. And if you've ever loved a pet like family, share your story in the comments. You're not alone.